There are 5 big mistakes my right-sizing sellers keep making again and again here in Metro Detroit, and it creates so much regret. If you're thinking about selling your family home, stick around so you don't fall into the same traps. Most people think that regret comes from selling the house itself. Maybe we shouldn't have sold yet. Maybe we should have stayed in the house longer. But the truth is, regret usually comes from how that move was handled, not the move itself. The wrong timing, the wrong prep, the wrong focus, that's what creates regret. And that's what we're going to try to avoid today. Get yourself a cup of coffee and come on back here. Mistake number 1 is waiting too long. I know, waiting feels safe, but it actually adds stress and costs you money. The longer you hold onto that house, the more the market shifts and the more repairs pile up. There's more emotional weight that builds. Moving sooner means you move on your terms. Mistake number 2 is not understanding your why. If you don't know why you're right sizing, you can drift into the wrong decisions. Is your why more travel, more time with your grandkids or family, simplifying your house or life, or a combination of all of those? If you're clear on that, every choice, what to keep, what to let go of, what to buy next for the new house becomes a lot easier. I can say everyone's why is different. And that's really the point. When we right size, every person has different goals for that right size. And sometimes they're in the same family. So getting clear on what your why is important for everybody in the family so we can find the right place for you. Here's a real life story. I got a call from a past client a few months ago, and she said she wanted to sell the house that I helped her buy back in 2015, about 10 years ago. We had kept in touch over the years by email and text, and I spoke to her every now and then as life kept moving forward, as it always does. I got a call in early spring 2025 to come walk through the house and help them get ready to sell. Retirement was down the road yet, but they wanted more time and less things to do around the house so they could enjoy family and life before they retired. We talked about a timeline of a few months to get the house ready to go on the market. And there was some angst about how this buy-sell process would go because the market in spring and early summer here in Michigan is pretty tight. Within a month and a half or so, I got a call that they had completed the entire list to help their house sell faster. And she wanted to update that timeline and get clear on how the buy-sell process was going to work. Ideally, they wanted to sell and buy right afterwards so there would be a contingency on the sale of their home. This is common practice, but it does cause worry, and most people want to use that equity to purchase that new home. But it takes some planning. They got pre-approved, and we began looking for a new home. And wouldn't you know it, they fell head over heels for the first condo they looked at. But with a contingency on the sale of their home, they needed a couple of weeks to get the house they had minimalized, depersonalized, and get a garage sale completed and all the leftover stuff donated or sold. It was probably going to be about 2 weeks before their house would hit the market. They said if the condo is still on the market, it was meant to be, and they would make an offer. If not, they would sell with a contingency on finding a home that they wanted. They were very practical about it, and the condo had already been on the market for 14 days, and it did seem a bit overpriced. So it was a good strategy. Now, in the current market, if a great home with a good location is on the market more than 2 weeks, something is off. Most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, it is price. During that 2-week period, the condo was reduced $20,000. The agent called and said the condo had been reduced, but I explained that they would probably make an offer, but they needed a contingency on the sale of their home. I also told her that the house probably wouldn't hit the market for a week or so, and her answer to me was, write it up. Now, I knew there was some need on the seller's part too, so that makes it a little bit easier to get things to progress the way they're supposed to. We wrote up the offer, and we got it accepted, and their house hit the market about 10 days later. They got a cash at asking offer with 2 months of free occupancy after the sale on the first day of showings. We had 3 really good offers, but only 1 cash offer. It had no inspection and no appraisal. That house was ready to sell, and it sold quick. We closed on their old home in 10 days. They were getting a mortgage on the condo, and we had a clear to close on that in 14 days, start to finish. They were really well qualified, and I have outstanding lender partners. So they closed on their new condo about 2 days after that. My client only stayed in that house 2 more weeks after it sold. Start to finish, it was less than 3 months from the first call to the day they moved into their dream right size home. And their new condo was 800 square foot bigger than the home that they sold. This is what right sizing means. The home that fits your new life. They were clear on their why, and they never wavered. When you are clear on your why, things tend to align. With good partners, like the buyer agent on their house, the listing agent on the new house, and a trusted agent that has your back through it all, some good advice that they took, and a good plan, dreams can come true. I'm not going to lie, it takes a lot of work, but the life you want is worth it. When I met with that couple in the story, they were really motivated to get started. They were very clear on their why. They wanted to get settled into their new life before they retired so they could enjoy their life now and later. They had a clear idea of how they wanted to do it, and we did it all on their terms. Mistake number 3, procrastinating and not decluttering early. I can't tell you how important this is. Don't wait until you're packing to declutter. Tackle it early, even 1 closet at a time will help. Starting sooner is far less overwhelming than facing decades of belongings 2 days before you have to move. And rushing can make it harder to make decisions to let go of things that you don't need. Don't clutter that new space with just in case items. If you don't use them, donate them or sell them. Storage units can be a really good option if you need to move before a potential repair or updates are completed, but don't use it instead of getting rid of unused items. It'll cost you a lot of money in the long run, and you still need to get rid of the stuff. Be ruthless in your downsizing. This goes for right sizing also. You may have the space to keep the things that you think you want, but do you need them for your new lifestyle? If not, sell them. And trust me, your kids don't want them. Mistake number 4, not realizing you may feel sadness in letting go of your old house. The hardest part of right sizing isn't packing the boxes. It isn't the move. It's saying goodbye to that house that held your life. Every room tells a story. The height marks on the door frame, the kitchen where all the holiday meals were planned and made, the yard where you spent weekends with the kids, extended family, and friends. But let me tell you something. It's not just 4 walls. It is decades of memories. And that's why it can feel so heavy, like you're leaving the life that happened there. But let me tell you the truth. Those memories don't live in the 4 walls and the yard. They live in you. They live in your family, your photos, your stories, and in the traditions you're going to carry forward and the memories you're going to make in that new home. Instead of holding on to square footage that you don't need or use, you can choose a space that gives you what you do need. More time because you're not maintaining what you don't use. All those rooms that you have to clean that no one goes into. More freedom because your money isn't tied up in that house that doesn't fit you anymore. And most of all, more joy because you can design a home and make it a space for your family, for the traveling that you wanted to do, and for the hobbies that you've been putting off. Letting go of the old house doesn't erase your past. It creates the right foundation for your future. Mistake number 5 is focusing on square footage and not lifestyle. Right sizing isn't about downsizing square feet. It's about upsizing your lifestyle. As I've said before, Right sizing is not giving anything up. It's redesigning your life and priorities and setting yourself up to live your best life for as long as possible. I see people buy the wrong house all the time, and those are the ones I usually get a phone call shortly afterward that they should have not bought that house, that they have regrets because they were chasing square footage instead of thinking, what do we want life to look like in 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years and beyond? Don't buy too small. Don't buy too big. You have to think about it and know your why. The house is just the stage. The why is where your future begins. So if you avoid these 5 mistakes, you'll protect your money, your peace of mind, and you'll make a move that is functional for your current and future lifestyle, not the lifestyle you had 20 years ago. If this video was helpful, watch the next one, and I'll see you on the next video.